for the entire term, asked you to think about, read about, and on occasion write about the arguments behind stimulus versus austerity for a macro economy such as the United States or some of those in Europe in the situation we are in today. We're in a situation of high unemployment, very slow growth, and as that continues, we're seeing homeowners lose homes, more people lose jobs, we're seeing careers ended, we're seeing a lot of very painful problems in our society. I'm going to finish this course up with this little brief personal opinion presentation. This is my thoughts. I'm not asking you to believe them. I'm asking you to be clear on them and challenge them in your readings and as you go on. Austerity and stimulus in a recessed economy where we have very high levels of government debt. The austerity arguments, to revisit them quickly, are that we need to reduce spending and increase taxes, mostly reduce spending are the arguments being made, and as a result we can bring down our deficits and bring down our debt. This is being imposed on Greece and Spain today, and we've seen movements or actions in that direction in Ireland. What is the reason for that? Why do they want to bring down the debt? And the argument is, if we don't bring down our deficits and our borrowing, eventually nobody is going to loan us money. And in order to borrow money when we need to, interest rates would go up. We don't want to see interest rates going up because we failed to pay our debt. We don't want to see borrowers who would otherwise, lenders who would otherwise lend us money saying, oh, you guys are too far in debt. I want a higher rate because you look pretty risky. We don't want to see this. Now, one writer, a rather prolific writer today, says these folks are worried about what he calls the bond vigilantes. These are the lenders who are looking around saying, oh, your deficits are too high, your debt is too high, we're not going to loan you money. That's Dr. Paul Krugman. And he argues those bond vigilantes, at least in the United States, aren't there because our interest rate on our government bonds today, in the short run even, are negative. Yeah, we're seeing Spain's rates go up. We're seeing some of that. But that's more a fear of they won't be able to manage their austerity measures. So we'll see. What about the stimulus arguments? The stimulus arguments are we should worry about our debt and deficits after we have rebuilt a healthy economy. We should go ahead and spend more government money wisely. Arguably, the stimulus spending under Obama in 2008 was not done very well, was not targeted very well. But the arguments here are we have a lot of infrastructure, roads, bridges, airports, rails, that need upgrading. They're deteriorating badly. We could spend money on that, improve our infrastructure, which desperately needs it, and create jobs along the way. And tax cuts to help people spend, and they argue, the Democrats in the United States argue those tax cuts should be directed at middle and lower income Americans, because when you give them a tax cut, they're more prone to go spend it rather than save it. Hell, they may not have any choice. They need to spend it. And if that results in higher deficits, and yes, it will, that's okay in the short run if you can grow the economy to where it is generating enough tax revenue to start repaying those deficits, especially when you're borrowing money today at a zero real interest rate, or very close to it, or perhaps negative. I don't think anybody is opposed to the idea of paying our debt, whatever country you're from, bringing that debt down. The argument is, when do you do that? If you do it now, I will tell you, you're going to slow your economic recovery. you're going to penalize your people even further. You're going to reduce your ability to pay your debts at the very time you think you're going to improve it. You're going to shrink your GDP. You're going to reduce the number of people employed. You're going to reduce the tax revenues you collect, which is going to make it just that much more difficult to repay things. The time to practice austerity and reduce the scope of government and reduce the amount of government spending and move towards balancing your budget, the time to do that is when the economy is strong and can stand that reduction in government. The time not to do it is when the economy is already on life support. If you can get the economy recovered, I think we could all agree, if we could just get some of the politicians to pay attention, yes, now it's time to start reducing our debt and maybe reducing the scope of government. Okay? But to do that before you're healthy is going to be self-defeating. Now, is it dangerous to go further into debt when the economy is already very anemic? We already have unemployment problems, etc. Is it dangerous to go into debt? We prefer not to. But what is the market, what are the bond vigilantes telling us, at least in the United States? They're saying, we'll loan you all the money you want. In fact, it's zero interest, because that's the safe place to put our money. We think they'll pay it back. And if you can borrow money at 0%, grow your productive elements, grow the productivity of your economy, restore full employment or something close to it, at zero cost in terms of the interest rates you pay on borrowed money. Do you not then generate the ability to repay that additional deficit and, in fact, your more basic, longer-term deficits by having more people working? Hope you enjoyed macroeconomics, and I hope it stays with you. It's going to stay with you, you know. It's going to affect your life from now on. Take care.